Hello, people of YouTube, and welcome back. We are actually halfway through the year, and that can only mean one thing, and it is part two of the 52 game challenge. Can you believe it? We've got this far and we've survived. We're not all dead, although only just. I have actually this year. This is part two of the COVID. I've actually got COVID the second time, so yeah, I've actually been ill for the last week. I actually made this video last week. However, I tried to be clever and used the better camera, the forward-facing one, and it was like recorded up to my eyes. Up to my eyes, it just looks stupid. So yeah, I'm gonna do it again. This time there's not gonna be any videos. I was gonna edit and everything. I was right up for doing it, and then I got COVID, and then it just took all my energy, and I couldn't be bothered. But yeah, actually at work, we're actually got a COVID little office that people who got it are going to be working in, because it seems that it's pretty rife at the moment. So not as bad as the first time around, but still wiped me out a couple of times. Saturday was a write-off, and yesterday was really bad as well, really. But I'm feeling a bit better today, actually. Well, right now, so enough to make a video, hopefully, anyway. So sorry if I'm sniffling a little bit, but you know why. And also, Pocky might make a few entrances because I've just finished work, and she wants me to take her for a nice big walk. But I've told her no, YouTube comes first. So yeah, so anyway, what have I been playing? So yeah, I've played quite a few games. I'm actually quite impressed how many I've actually played. I can't remember how many's here, but there is a number of games here. And first up, we started off the beginning of the 52 game challenge this year with PlayStation Month, and we played. Sorry, I've just seen what she was chewing over there. We played Skull Monkeys on PlayStation 1. This is a good game. It's one that's fantastic to start with, but kind of overstays its welcome. One of them games. I actually started this really drunk, beginning of the year. Really enjoying it, loved it, everything about it. The art style was so cool because it's sort of like a claymation style platforming game. Like you just don't get them like this. And the music was just fantastic, just so like sort of like jokes that are on itself. Great humor, but then when I went to play it again, I actually had to. I lost my password that I saved. I took a screenshot, and obviously I lost my phone a couple of times since then. And yeah, I just got a password off the internet, went through it again, and yeah, it didn't have that magic I felt when I first played it. Absolutely fantastic, loved it, but it just felt like the levels didn't really progress. Like it was just more of the same, and yeah, that last stage was just brutal. It really was. Again, it's PlayStation. Like it's sort of like that era, isn't it? Like a lot of the games back then were just doable, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh shit, we've got to make it so people come back and play it again." So this is make the last stage like impossibly hard. So yeah, that was that one. Next up, we had Splasher on the PS4. Now this to me is a proper hidden gem. This is from Red Art Games. Lovely slip cover, really cheap. I don't know what it's like on eBay. It is like a limited game. However, I mean, not many people talk about it, so I don't think it's going to be an expensive one. But yeah, this is sort of like Super Meat Boy meets Splatoon. So it's like sort of like really fast, repetitive levels that you kind of like platforming, jumping off walls. But then it adds into a mix of like colorways where you've got like a paint gun, as you can see there, that you can splash onto the walls, and it has different status effects. So some of them will be like sticky, so you can climb up the walls a bit easier. Some of them will bounce, and this water cleans off any other like sort of like hindrances that you have along the way. And yeah, this is just like you just run through the game, die, and then instantly like starts you again, and that's where the addiction comes, because you're just hurtling through the levels as fast as you can, trying to collect all the valuables along the way. All the little extra men that you've got that are dotted around. I think you've got to have like 10 or 20 men per level that you have to get, and you need to get them all just for trophies. But that's where it becomes, that kind of stuff really becomes addictive for me, and I really love this game. This was a fantastic game. I'm really hoping they make a Splasher 2. A Splasher 2. Well, it's been a while, so I don't know if there might already be one, who knows, but just no physical. Got me coffee, that's my medicine. Next up, another great game. One I've heard good things about, but not really much about, and it is Thousand Arms on the PlayStation 1. So this is a turn-based RPG. Only came out in America, and a nice Atlas release. Comes with this awesome like lenticular card. No reason for it. We never got any like cool bonuses like that for us in England. But anyway, it's not a pickups video. It's what did I think about the games. So yeah, like this, it's such a bonkers RPG. It really is. Such a stunning art style of like graphics and stuff like that. Very sort of like almost 16-bit, but then like it just does stuff that obviously pushes what that could have done. Sort of like it'll have like cutscenes where it's like animated anime style like animation, how you typically see, and then it just transitions into like the 3D animated cell shaded look. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. The unique thing about this as well, you talk to new girls along the way, and they join your party, as you probably would expect with a game like this. However, to upgrade your weapons, you have to then take these girls onto dates, and it gives you new status effects for your weapons and their weapons, and yeah, you have to just go and do like random dates through the game. It's really, really bizarre. And yeah, it's like you have a party of 3 members, and this is another thing that was very unusual. You only have one member that fights at one time, and the other 2 are just there to sort of like as a backup in case that one dies, and then they come in and fight, and then in the meantime they're just there to do status backups and like healing and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very unusual, very cool, very quirky, very of its time, and it's very doable. It's not like the hardest RPG. This is quite a good starter RPG. The last boss took me a couple of goes to do it. I had to go back and do a couple of hours of grinding before I redid it, and then it was just a cakewalk. Just basically press X to win. So yeah, it's finding that fine line of like what where you want to be. Do you want to be that overpowered badass? That's what I like about RPGs, where like this era especially, what I love about it is like you can just overpower yourself by grinding, whereas they kind of stopped that with later games. They just put so many mechanics in, bloated the game so much that like you could like grind, and then like everything around you gets more difficult. So it's like sort of like takes the fun out of grinding a little bit, because everything doesn't get any easier from grinding. I hate that. I hate them kind of games. I'm trying to think of a game that does that, but I'm sure someone will be able to tell me. I'm trying to close it properly. There's something wrong with this box. I need to sort that out. Anyway, Thousand Arms. Definitely recommend that one. And another one I recommend playing as well, Blood Will Tell. So this is one I've had for ages. I actually got this a copy of this from the car boot once upon a time. But yeah, I got this from CX ages ago for like, I think it was 30 quid. I looked at the receipts, and I know that because I did a bit of a dodgy thing. So I got about halfway through this, maybe quarter to halfway through this game, beat a boss, and then it just crashed. And I was like, what happened there? And then I just couldn't get the game to start again. And there was no scratches on the discs or anything. I think there was like a little mark or something, and that was about it. So I ordered another copy from CX, swapped the discs, finished the game, and then just returned my dodgy disc one. And I don't feel guilty because I bought it originally from CX, so it's not like it was any major. This is the original case that came in here. As you can see, it's in good condition. So I don't know what was up with it. All complete. It is complete. I thought it wasn't complete then. But yeah, all complete. Yeah, it was just a shame. It was just a shame, really, that I had to do that. But yeah, this game is based on a anime that I've never heard of before called Tetsuku Azumo Dororo, which I mean, I always thought it was Blood Will Tell, but that the tagline here is the actual anime. Well, I think it was just Western-fied, wasn't it, for us Western market? But yeah, really cool game. Action RPG. Well, sort of RPG, not more of an action adventure game, where you're going along trying to get your body parts back. Yeah, some demons, some random, I think 46 demons or a large number of demons stole all your body parts, and you have to go and beat the demons to get your body parts back. And you start off, which I thought there was a little bit of a problem with my PlayStation, to be honest. And it was all in black and white, and I was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "No, I remember one of the menus being in color." So yeah, the first demon that you beat, you get back your eyeballs, and then everything then becomes in color. So yeah, really quirky, get cool game. Not the most difficult game of its era. It's just the difficulty lies in sort of like the mechanics are not as smooth as like a modern PlayStation 4 game. Of course they're not. And it's just a really good fun game. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this game. Um, Definitely recommend. If especially if you can get it cheap, but not that you can anymore. Next up, we have got, so that was the PlayStation month over with, and so I thought I'd go and play some Nintendo. I thought I'd give my Switch some love, and then I played the game that I actually bought the Switch for. This was like the game I was really hyped up to play. I've got the special edition of this as well, and this is Astral Chain. If you can't read, but yeah, this game is dripping in style. Absolutely, such a beautiful looking game. It's by Platinum Games, who make some of the really good action adventure games, and I was really looking forward to this. And all I can come out of it is it's not for everyone. I enjoyed it. It mashes up a few different like genres really. I was hoping it was going to be a hack and slash all the way through, but it's not. It's more of a detective game in some ways. It's not really a detective game. It's sort of like you go into like little areas and you've got to figure out what's happened in these areas before you can progress. So you've got to talk to people, find things on the floor, almost like a point and click, but like 3D. And then you go into another world, and then you fight with this demon on your side, and it's really cool hack and slash, very fiddly, very fiddly. There's a lot of button combinations, and I think that can again put people off a little bit because it's not a straightforward just press A to hit. And it was, once you get, it takes a while to get used to that, but once you get into it, it's a really cool flashy game, and I really enjoyed the fighting of it. But it just had a lot of starting and stopping, and it kind of broke. It just made it a bit slow for what it was, but like I say, this game is oozing in style. I mean, you can tell. I mean, look at you sort of like police members, obviously with the detective style of it. But yeah, man, they could. I'm hoping if they did an Astral Chain, they go more into just the fighting, because that would be awesome. That really would. I mean, it's just so close but so far. Oh, I forgot to give scores for these. So I'm gonna give Splasher a 9 out of 10. I'm gonna give what's the other one? Skull Monkeys 7 out of 10. Thousand Arms 8 out of 10. Blood Will Tell 8 out of 10. It would have had more, but it's just of its time. And Astral Chain 8 out of 10 as well. Graphics are like a solid 10 on that one. Another thing to mention as well, I actually did try play it handheld mode, and this is where it's starting to make me feel old, because I really didn't enjoy playing it in handheld mode. The graphics didn't. They were just the same as if you was playing it on a big screen TV. So I couldn't read everything like I probably should have been able to. Yeah, it's starting to feel old. However, this is what I find, that the Switch doesn't quite take that Vita glory, because the Vita, you could read everything and it was a smaller screen. So it's just a shame that like this more modern system doesn't quite work as well as a Vita. But anyway, that's just for me, innit? Next up, we've gone digital, and we are played Flynn, Son of Crimson. What a fantastic game! I heard a couple of people mention this. I think Paul the Northerner played this. Uh, so I've got like flipping cat hair all over my face or something. It's just itching. Yeah, so Flynn, Son of Crimson. This was on Xbox Game Pass. It's sort of like Wonder Boy meets, well, just something a bit more intense. Such a cool, fun, like Metroidvania style Wonder Boy game. I would say more Wonder Boy than Metroidvania, although there was a lot of like exploration, but not. It's a bit more linear than a lot of like Metroidvanias. Yeah, really cool. Like it's sort of like you have like a bit of a brawling sort of sequence where like you've got a lot of like sword attacks and you go around like powering that up and stuff, and yeah, really cool, especially like destroying the gems and like seeing everything like just accumulate. I love games where it's like there's just a lot of things, you just smash something and a lot of things appear from it and then you collect it all. I just that is just amazing to me. Such a fun game. And then from that, I think I played a few other games and just never completed them. One in particular was the first game in this series. Well, not the first game, but one of the games in the series, and it is Record of Lotus War, Deedlit in the Wonderland Room. So initially, I was really looking forward to playing this, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to play the first game, well, the Dreamcast version of this first, and then go on to this. But I got about halfway, and it just got it just got that old school mechanics where it just kind of got a little bit tricky. Just wasn't in the mind space for the trickiness of it, and I just kind of gave up on it. Even though I actually really liked it, it was sort of like a Diablo-esque light style game, very like Western looking rather than, because this is based on anime. Record of Lotus War is, I think it's an anime, and that just felt like it was like made sort of like a Diablo game, like Western style, which is very unusual, I found. But yeah, really good game. I probably put about 10 hours into it, and unfortunately I didn't beat it, which I do want to go back and beat it, I do, but like I said, I think I need to do a bit more grinding, and then I could probably go a bit further with it. Need to go back. There's loads of games I've half finished this year, it's crazy. But yeah, anyway, from that I just went straight into this, and Jesus Christ, I just fell in love with this game. This is Symphony of the Night mixed with Ikaruga. Probably the best way to explain it. Art style ripped straight from Symphony of the Night. They could probably sue them if that Konami could probably sue them if they could be bothered to do anything other than make a pachinko game out of it. They'll probably make a pachinko game out of the lawsuit of the art style of this rather than do anything that we want. Anyway, ranting again, aren't I? But yeah, this game, love letter to Symphony of the Night. You have the bit that where it becomes Ikaruga style is you have like two sort of like statuses where you have like a blue and a red, five and something else. I can't remember. It's not even that long ago since I played it, and I've completely forgot what they actually stand for. But basically, certain ways will help your health go up, and then sometimes if you're using the other effect, you'll lose health. So it's sort of like learning to go between the two, and it was quite fun. And oh, my dog's chewing my shoes. She never chews my shoes. What's going on? She really wants to go out, I think. But yeah, like I just found it really good. I just found the difficulty just right as well. You didn't have to grind too much. There was a couple of tricky bits, but it wasn't the hardest. I found some of the just normal enemies, if you got there too early, they was harder than some of the bosses I found. But again, it was all about learning to go between your statuses during the boss fights to how well you're going to succeed with it. I mean, I think I only died a few times, a handful of times, and I know a few people have said that the last like run of bosses were quite hard, but I didn't find it. I mean, usually I do, so I don't know why I didn't on this one. But I think it's probably because I just loved this game so much. For this kind of a game, it was like less than 10 hours, probably about an 8-hour game. Really good, really recommend it. I mean, everyone's got time to play this, and I don't think it's that expensive either. Although I think it might be one that might become expensive, one of them kind of ones. Next up, a digital only game. Oh, sorry. I will give 9 out of 10 for that one. 9 out of 10. Yeah, definitely. Uden Chronicles Rising. So this is by some of the people that was involved with Suikoden, the Suikoden series of RPGs. They got a Kickstarter together to make a new game that is sort of Suikoden. I don't think it's going to be, to be honest, but it's basically by the people that was involved with it. But they've also made a little spin-off game that's coming out before it, I suppose, maybe just to help get a few extra funds, maybe get it a bit more hyped up. And on Game Pass, this was on it, Uden Chronicles Rising. And this plays a lot different. It plays more like a Muramasa, Odin's Sphere style, like sort of Vanillaware style game. And yeah, I really didn't enjoy it to start off with. You basically go to a big village, well, a big village. You go to a village hub world, sort of like a side-scrolling platforming style game with RPG elements. So you go to that hub world, and they give you little quests, and you go there, get up a bit more. The graphic style was pretty cool. However, the animation was just like a little bit spotty. You can see it was done on a budget because it just didn't flow as well as like some other games that look like that. But the more you play it, and the more that you have like multiple quests going on at the same time, I think that's where, for me at least, the addiction comes, because you then start planning out how you're going to take on these quests. So you need to get so much bat wings from over there, and then go to over, and then you can go back and cash in all your quests and power up a little bit more. And like I say, that's where the addiction comes in. So yeah, really cool game. Really looking forward to the full game, see what that's actually going to be like. Hang on a second. Apologies for that. Next up, more digital. We went on a digital fucking feast here a second for this. Again, Game Pass. No, it wasn't Game Pass. No, this wasn't Game Pass. So I actually have a fair amount of physical games, but I actually have quite a lot of digital games that I've still not played. Every time I see something on sale, I'll buy it. And this is one of them. And Mark, Geordie Slasher Gamer, recently played it, and it just made me go, shit, I need to play this again. So the game in question is AVGM 1 and 2. So Angry Video Game Nerd. Yeah, he made a video game. I actually had this on my Steam account, Angry Video Game Nerd 1. And I can remember playing it and thinking it was quite okay. A little bit tricky, and I kind of gave up on it. I never actually beat it. But then I heard that it was coming to console, and when it was coming to console, it was going to put the two games together, and sort of like not remaster it, but like sort of rebalance it, I guess it would be the better way to describe it. And yeah, so they changed the levels a lot, so it makes it a little bit more fairer. And yeah, I played through the first two games, and in doing so, it unlocks this extra few levels for you to beat. So once you beat them, you can go on to the next one. That's only in the collection. I think you can only play these levels if you've beat these two on this collection. So yeah, that's how I count this as just one game, because it sort of like has that little topper to sort of like bring them two together. I mean, to be honest, the games are not very long. They're probably about an hour or two each. To be honest, I enjoyed the first one the most. A little bit more basic than the second one, but I don't know, it just had that character. Again, all the levels are based on episodes from the Angry Video Game Nerd, so there's a lot of a lot of humour. Probably standout level has to be the Cluster's Revenge level, or basically the Atari 2600 porn games. So there was like 8-bit penises and boobs bouncing around the levels, and yeah, you had to go through it. It was just hilarity ensued. Fantastic game. Just again, it's not for everyone. If you enjoy your Angry Video Game Nerd and you enjoy hard, difficult games, you will enjoy it. And I'll give it an 8 because of that. So yeah, pretty cool game. So next up, we've got also on the Game Pass, who've been really looking after me this last 3 months, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. So yeah, fantastic game. Man, oh man, 9.5 straight off the bat. I'm just gonna say 9.5. I believe online is a bit shit, but we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, so not by Konami, which is quite surprising, but it's based on like sort of like the Konami arcade classics. Man, it's just oozing with style. Again, I thought it was by the people that did the Streets of Rage 4 release, but it wasn't. It's by different people, different development team. However, it was published by the same people. .mu. So yeah, I was expecting it to be very similar to that, but it's completely different. Both side-scrolling brawlers, but play totally different. There's a lot of like rolling away out of like scuffles and coming back with a counter attack, which is really cool. I really enjoyed it because it just made it kind of flowed really well. Lots of things going on the screen, lots of little things to look out for, lots of little Easter eggs to keep your eye open on. There's collectibles to find along the way, which to be honest wasn't really that hard to find. And yeah, just a lot of fun. Probably about 4 hour game, which for a brawler is quite a long game, I would say. However, I did it all in one go, and again, I played it on the arcade machine, and it was just the perfect way to do it. Now, I've only beat it once because I only wanted to beat it once on Xbox, and I've actually pre-ordered the physical version of it, of course, like everyone else. And when the PlayStation one comes, I'm going to platinum that once because that is where my heart is, and it won't be another completion. It will just because I've already done it this year. However, I'll just, like I say, I will be spending more time and playing that and probably lamenting more about it because I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. A must buy, and I'm hoping everyone who's watching this has pre-ordered it on some system or another because it is a game for you. Next up, Mass System Challenge, and this is Retribution. This is, I tell you. So we've got Rampage for the Mass System. So I originally played this. Not originally played it. I originally played this at a youth club back in the day. Me and my mates always used to play this. Loved it. And then I can remember, I don't know if it was another Mass System Challenge or something, but I played this for a YouTube video, and I beat the game, but I died, and I just carried on doing it. And yeah, this was on the Mass System Challenge again, and I was thinking, I just kept thinking to myself, I've got to do it, and I've got to go and beat it. So I beat this in one life. So yeah, really, I wouldn't say fully enjoyable, but it was just a good time, nostalgic. I do enjoy playing this, although it does become very repetitive doing the same thing over and over again. It's like just over an hour of gameplay, and you've got like 5 stages repeating, pretty much. Yeah, really cool. Like I say, 50 rounds, 10 stages, all look the same. It's stupid, but it is. But yeah, really cool Mass System game. This really was a game to play with your mates, like, so you can just have fun, smack each other in the face and everything like that. But I'm just now glad to have beat this with one life. So yeah, Retribution. Next up, we've got 2 more left, and we finally beat The Last of Us Part 2. So I had a week of holiday come in, and I knew I wanted to play something like this, so that's what I did. So pop this on. Absolutely fell in love with the first game. It was one of the first PlayStation 4 games I played and beat, and it's been hard to top it ever since. It really has. It's, again, a lot of it's Marmite for some people because it's not a true game. It's not like Resident Evil or anything like that where you kind of got a small set base. This is a full-on story, and good or bad, I think it's amazing. It's just fantastic. It's basically a game of 2 halves. A half of a Telltale style game, a half of Resident Evil, and then half of Uncharted. So yeah, lots of halves put together. And because of that, it's such a long game. I think it was like 28 hours it took me to complete this. And I'm glad I did this on my holidays because I don't think I would have appreciated it the same way. If you were to play this, you need to play this a good couple of days straight, and then mop up the rest later on or something. If you've not beat it in them couple of days, just because I think if you was to play this after work, like a couple of hours each time, you'll miss how the pacing's supposed to work. It's got a lot of slow pacing and then action, and then slow pacing and then action, and it works into some degree. However, it just doesn't get to the highlights of the original. That being said, this is a fantastic game. I loved every bit of this. My favourite bits of The Last of Us is I'm just basically sort of like a nosy neighbour that comes around opening everyone's drawers, looking for some sellotape and some scissors. So, which you don't realise in the apocalypse that like how necessary some of this stuff is. If someone came here, they'll be sorted. They've got like loads of rolls of tape there. I've got some scissors over there. You would be sorted to be making some like shrapnel weapons. Upgrade your melee weapon. You'll be sorted by coming over here. Whether or not I've ransacked it before, or maybe I've got the cordyceps and turned into a zombie. Who knows? But yeah, I tried my hardest to get away from spoilers from this, like probably a lot of other people did. But year in, I mean, it didn't take long for the spoilers to be said. However, I think a lot of people blow a lot of it out of the water. Ellie's a lesbian. Wow, big deal. It's like how I was expecting it to be. It was like some of the TV shows that like bring that sort of subject where they kind of like over emphasize it. This really doesn't do that at all, and I don't know why some people are so worried about it all. I just don't get it. I really don't. There is another thing that wasn't quite great in it. It was a bit. It just felt tagged on. It didn't bring the subject a good light of it, and unfortunately, I suppose them two issues kind of marred it a little bit. But really, for me, it didn't. For me, I enjoyed the story for what the story was. A lot of people again sad that Joel died in the game, but he was through the game, so it's not like he was just completely absent from it. And spoiler here, spoilers again, people probably already know this. You change into the enemy, and I honestly think that was quite an interesting way to take a different narrative on what was happening in the world. Like, you're going around like destroying, killing people, and then you then go into the eyes of the other people of that you've been killing, and well, maybe the world isn't as black and white as what it's supposed to be. And in fact, I think we were talking about doing a bit of a book review of this game, of a few of us that have beat this, and maybe we might actually talk about it a bit more in detail, because I could probably go on. I've kind of like realised it's 33 minutes in, and I could go on for a long time with that one. But anyway, next up, I'm going to give that 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10, that one. And then last up, we've got Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil 8. Is it Resident Evil 8 or is it a separate game? I don't know, because it doesn't say 8 on the side. This is the thing. I think they was too scared to actually call it 8, maybe. I don't know, because it isn't a Resident Evil game to me. If this didn't have Resident Evil on it and it was a Capcom horror game, oh man, that would have made this game so much better, I think. Because all I was doing is judging this game all the way through it for being a Resident Evil game, and it just wasn't. However, it was quite a cool horror. It was quite creepy at times. The only problem is they just throw every style of horror in it. You've got lichens, vampires, zombies, scary dolls. In fact, the scary dollhouse bit actually did creep me out a little bit, and it did make me jump. But it was just like too many things. Or witches, a lot of witchy sort of style. There's just too much horror in one, and I just think it just kind of detracted away from what it could have been. I really enjoyed the previous one in this Resident Evil 7. again, even though that wasn't a Resident Evil game, I just enjoyed that horror a lot more, and it did feel a little bit more of a Resident Evil game than this did. I just felt, I don't know, and I think the problem with this one with me as well, I kind of screwed it up a little bit because I changed the difficulty from medium to easy. Fake gamer, I know. Fake gamer made it too easy, and it made it too easy. So I think what it was is the first bit was I got to a bit where I died, but I think the game was supposed to have killed me, but because I just come and played Last of Us, which I found played really well, and is the AAA game that you'd expect. This isn't like a AAA game to me. It felt like Resident Evil 4 with a little bit better graphics in first person. So it just felt like that little bit of clunkiness. And I don't know, I just felt like, oh, I'm not going to enjoy this. I'm going to make it easy. And it was just like, I was just walking through the game then. It took any of that kind of like horror vibe out of it. I didn't have to worry about anything. And like I say, it was maybe what I needed to do is play this sometime apart of Last of Us. I think that would have maybe play like one of them sort of like walking horrors, and then played this. But unfortunately, I played it how I did. I don't feel the need to go back and play this on a harder difficulty either. I would much rather play Resident Evil 7 again. And I played that on medium, and that was enjoyable. I wanted to like this. I didn't. I found the Resident Evil Revelation games. Them games were fantastic. They were more of a Resident Evil game than this. But it is what it is. I didn't realise as well this kind of like carried on from the last game. I didn't realise that, and that's how it is Resident Evil. But it just isn't. I don't know. I'm very disappointed with this. I'm going to give it a 7. It wasn't a bad game. It really wasn't. Like I say, I just was judging it way too much. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to go for a nice walk now. See if I can clear any of this COVID out of my chest. She's going a bit nuts. That's what I played on the first half of 2022. 31 games. 31 games. I think that's quite... We're up there with like probably the most games I've played for a long time, which probably suggests I need to go out and have a life as well. So I need to get out into the world a little bit more, and that's what I'm going to plan to do now. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.